Right now, they're getting ready to bear down on Long Grove, Buffalo Grove. Talking about 90-mile-an-hour winds, winds approaching 90 miles an hour.
And that's where we're talking about these thunderstorms literally collapsing. And as it's again my spilled milk analogy. It's like this is a Willow Road and 294. You certainly see the lightning. Yeah, you know. Okay, this is looking to where Allstate used to be out there, and we're looking off to the west. North and west, so you get the idea what's coming. You're at Willow Road, and we're looking right at this cell at this point. So we're back here on Willow Road, looking straight to the west at 294, and we're looking at what's coming in that direction. So again, let's talk about lightning. No safe place outside where there's lightning. Do not attempt to walk the dog. Don't do anything foolish. If it's in the car, leave it in the car. This is just safety. That's all we talk about is safety, safety, safety. Don't do something silly. And that rotation continues to be a situation between Route 14 and Route 12, just to the north of Palatine. And Pete, it looks like it wants to move right down Lake Cook Road. There's Long Grove. And again, it's on you there. And you pointed out the gusty winds, the straight line winds with this. Perhaps some circulation.
Yeah, and right. Yeah, right now picking up some really powerful winds along Long Grove, which is just north of right here. This is Lake Cook. So to seek shelter in your safe place, get in the basement, get in an interior room of your house. Make sure you have your cell phone handy, because we've seen not only dangerous thunderstorms, but we have again. We have
Pete,
a
look at
confirmed
this
tornado.
Yeah. So this is on the ground. This is confirmed, and this is rather unusual. We have a confirmed tornado warning within a tornado warning. Here's where it encompasses, right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Confirmed on the ground, moving toward Long Grove. If you're in Long Grove, you need to be in your safe place right now. Don't mess around. There's where it is, Vernon Hills, Mettawa, up toward Mundelein. Here's Route 45. This thing is moving off to the north and east, and the general clip on this, Joy, let's put up the skid on that and give you an idea of what we're looking at here. General motion should be, we don't have one close, oh, there we go. Look at that, east-northeast at 45, Pete.
So they've started to pick up. That's, I guess, good news, but bad news too with the winds.
Yeah. You know, and as it moves off toward Lake Michigan, we want this thing not to produce any damage, but get this guy out into Lake Michigan, get this thing out of here. The faster, the better. Not necessarily for any interest on the ground here, because it's still dangerous. So if you're in Lake County, northern Cook County, get to your safe place. Here's Highwood, Lake Forest, Lake Bluff, Libertyville. You can see Waukegan Road. You can see Milwaukee. All of that moving off to the east rather quickly, around 45 miles per hour. And again, this is an active tornado, confirmed tornado on the ground. Let's go look at some of that debris and see if we can see anything confirmed there to give you an idea and pinpoint it a little bit better. We're looking near Long Grove. Pete, I don't see any indication there, do you?
So far, no, but that doesn't mean that it's all clear by any stretch of the imagination.
No. And again, we're trying to look for confirmation here. And Pete was talking about those winds. Describe this, Pete. You do an excellent job of talking about what you're seeing.
Yeah, we basically have, when you see the lighter shades there, where it says 69-mile-an-hour winds, now that's Doppler radar indicated winds. The likelihood of those winds being even more powerful than that is pretty high. So now you can see 76-mile-an-hour winds, and they're moving away from the radar site. So basically, this is the winds moving away. We're looking at more of a straight line wind event. And so, you know, here's Vernon Hills heading toward Lincolnshire. I'm going to put out a personal plea here. My brother lives in Lincolnshire. You and Laura, Pat, please find that safe space. Get in the basement, get into an interior room, have your cell phone with you, and text me soon. I want to make sure you're okay.
And Pete, let's point out that you grew up in this neighborhood.
Yes.
And have you ever seen anything like this?
This is, like I said before, this has been breaking all the rules. Brant, how often do we, when we're watching a line of thunderstorms, do we talk about all the activity on the southern end of it? This is on the northern extreme of this line of thunderstorms. So again, we're breaking all the rules here. We have a confirmed tornado on the ground here. There are very powerful winds associated with this. So again, this is your opportunity to seek shelter right now. And this extends all the way to the lakefront. So this warning goes until 8:30. We still have another 40 minutes. So we're looking at Lake Cook Road, right by 294 here. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of rain coming down. The rain is very heavy. Notice how the camera is shaking. That's an indication that we have very strong winds there, Brant. So we're looking at a dangerous system up and down this line. But again, it's been very unusual because we started in the southwest suburbs with this, and now we've moved into Lake County in the northern suburbs, watching all of these spin-ups.
I can't recall when we had a tornado warning within a tornado warning.
Very unusual.
Very unusual, but it gets the word out. It gets the warning out, and that's why we're here. We want you to be safe, and we share these warnings so you know what's going on, so you can make decisions to protect life and property and keep your family safe. And now, where's it moving? It's moving off to the north and east, pretty good clip, over 40 miles per hour. There's the center of the circulation coming up on Vernon Hills. And again, we talk about that time delay. It's on Vernon Hills already. Mettawa, it's going to move toward Lake Forest and Lake Bluff toward North Chicago. And it's moving off at a pretty good clip. So look at we'll be at Lake Bluff a little after 8 o'clock. What are you looking at? It's 7:51. So in the next 10, 11 minutes, or 9 or 10 minutes, we're going to see this thing get to the lakefront and get out of here. But until it does, danger in Lake County. We've already crossed into Lake County. It's no longer a threat in immediate Cook County. There's a Lake Cook Road to the south of River Woods there. And again, this circulation moving off to the north and east at a pretty good clip and moving toward the lakefront. This is confirmed. Tornado on the ground. So get to your safe place. If you're anywhere in Lake County, it looks like this is south of the chain of lakes, but you see Libertyville there and Lake Bluff and Mundelein. And again, this thing is moving at a pretty good clip out toward Lake Michigan. We'll watch another scan as it comes up here. Let's widen out a little bit and give you a general idea of what else is upstream. Pete, let's see what other misery lurks out there to the south and west. And let's widen way out, Joey, if we can. And even wider than this. I want to see the whole thing. Oop, back. Look at this. Look what's still out here, Pete. We've got some more stuff that's cooking out toward Rockford and moving off to the north and east. But this primary threat, that active tornado warning in Lake County, we can't discount what's happening here too. Pete, you talked about on the south end, typically that's where we have the potential for something popping up. And we're going to stay with the Lake County rotation at this point, but just give you a heads up. If you're in Will County, southern Cook County, this thing's still producing straight line winds, still producing frequent lightning, large hail, and moving off to the north and east. Okay, this is our biggest immediate threat at this point. Confirmed tornado on the ground. There's Vernon Hills moving past Long Grove. And keep in mind, this is delayed information. The tornado's probably near Mettawa at this point and quickly moving out into Lake Michigan. So, you know, this is an area too, Pete, you start to see some of the Long Grove and stuff, you start to see some of those treed areas, and difficult to see what's going on. We kind of lost some of the strong rotation at this point, but we'll stay with it. You know, we're fortunate in some respects to have this in February where the trees haven't leafed out yet, Pete.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just barely budded in some places, so we don't have that wind load that's on them that would cause a lot of tree limbs to come down. Okay, we're looking there for a second. We were looking at some of the rotation, and we were looking at for some of the wind speeds with Doppler radar. Go back to that if we can. And what we were looking at with the Doppler radar, keep in mind the radar is sitting to our south. We're getting that information from Romeoville, and you're seeing the winds where you see the red color, it's going away, and the straight line winds are pushing here to the east. But again, this is again a confirmed tornado on the ground. We'll keep watching this. Pete, let's focus on that southern flank thing that's down toward Will County. What do you think there? What are you seeing?
So far, it's pretty quiet down on that end. There's unfortunately, it's a little bit of distortion because it's right on top of the radar site.
Across Lake and Porter and LaPorte counties in northwest Indiana. So we have to watch the tail end of this as it continues to move off to the east and see if anything pops up at that point. And again, this blue area, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, meaning conditions are favorable for a severe thunderstorm. And anywhere in here, we might see a tornado spin up. So keep your guard up. If you're in Tinley Park, you're in Alsip, Bridgeview, it's on you. Down toward Mokina, it's still to the west, sitting on top of Joliet at this point, and there's still lots of lightning with this whole line of thunderstorms moving to the east. Still some small hail. What we're not seeing, Pete, is that gigantic hail that we saw before in excess of a couple of inches.
And that's an indication, yeah, that we're finally seeing this system, at least the stronger thunderstorm cells, collapse a little bit. So we're not seeing those powerful updrafts. And right now, basically from North Chicago through Lake Bluff, that's where we're looking at the most powerful winds right now, and they're right along the lakefront. It won't be much longer that we'll see the smaller box as far as the tornado warning goes. Hopefully it will be allowed to expire pretty soon, because there will still be some windy conditions. There are still some pretty gusty winds that are coming on the back side of this system, but they're not going to be of a strength that is tornadic. So we're not going to be, even though it's kind of interesting, we can see like a broad rotation here. That's not tight enough for any sort of tornadic activity to occur. It's got to be on a much smaller scale for us to see, but kind of an indication that even on the backside of this, we're going to continue to see some gusty winds that will be blowing. And again, we do have the potential for that pea-size hail. But right now, the strongest winds, if we could go and take a look at the rotation detector, we'll likely see those strong winds right at the lakefront, or right over the lakefront right now. So yeah, right here from Waukegan through North Chicago, Lake Bluff, Lake Forest. That's where we're looking at the most powerful winds right now, and most of that activity, from what I'm seeing, is getting ready to head over to the lakefront. But even now, I'm just kind of looking. We're looking at some pretty strong winds that are still extending south through Highland Park, through Glencoe, into Winnetka and Wilmette as well, and even down into Evanston too. We're
Pete,
looking at some pretty powerful winds that are coming in as these. I think, Brant, this likely a sign that the thunderstorms are indeed collapsing.
And that's some good news. You know, my interest is really piqued by that video we had. That was Hoffman Estates, correct?
Correct.
So if you look on our map where Hoffman Estates is, in northern Cook County, let's zoom in here. You can see it right in here. Get a little closer. That is the cell, Pete, that we saw that popped up on Route 14 and Route 12.
Correct.
So in here, Hoffman Estates, get a little closer.
Nope.
The other way. They're right there, right there. So Hoffman Estates, yeah, I'm getting pleased like I don't know where that is. Okay, we know. You get the idea where Hoffman Estates is. Let's widen out a little bit. I'll keep my finger kind of on that and follow it. So that was this active tornado warning. This is the guy that popped up near Elgin and moved through. And let's go back in time, and we'll try to pinpoint where that is. So we're looking right in here. That's it, right there, Pete.
Yep.
That's it. And to our control room, can you throw that video up one more time so we can show you some of the ground truth of what we were dealing with there? Dramatic image of, look at this. Look at that tornado.
That is that from the distance that we appear to be looking at it. It's kind of difficult to get perspective, but that looks like a decent sized tornado, Brant.
Yes, it does.
Not any sort of like rope tornado that we've seen.
Yeah. So again, this is from Hoffman Estates. Let me correct myself, Pete. So they're looking to the north and perhaps west. So this would make complete sense. So if Hoffman Estates is down here, they were looking off to the north and west, and it's backlit there a little bit. So this probably was this cell here near South Barrington, where that was captured. So they would have been looking off in this direction and looking at it. So again, the National Weather Service survey teams will be out in force probably tomorrow. We've had multiple confirmed ground truth here. So a tornadic outbreak.
Yep.
Okay, we're looking at all tornado warnings canceled at this point. We just have a severe thunderstorm warning, and it continues to work its way eastward. We'll see if the National Weather Service, once this line gets a little closer to the state line, and here's the state line here down toward Dyer, are they going to re-up a severe thunderstorm warning or across northwest Indiana? We're going to stay with this for a while. We're going to keep you safe. So we'll continue to monitor the situation. So what's going on here? That line has pushed out into Lake Michigan. So we have no active tornado warnings at this point. And here's a little bit of history to show you how violent this evening has been. And the lightning continues to be a threat. So lightning continues across Chicago. And again, we emphasize no safe place outside where there is lightning, period. We're hearing thunder in the city of Chicago. This thing is upon us. If you're on the North Shore, everywhere from Evanston, it's on Evanston yet, but to Wilmette, Winnetka, up toward Lake Forest, you're starting to see that line of thunderstorms pushing out into Lake Michigan. You see the general motion is off to the north and east. Severe thunderstorm warning runs until 8:15 for just a few more minutes here. We'll see what the National Weather Service does, if they will light one up, and if they light up across northwest Indiana. We'll continue to monitor that situation. But, you know, Pete, look how this thing has slowed down, especially in the South counties. It seems like it's been raining forever in Joliet and down toward Mokina.
Yeah, they're still looking at, as you can see there, frequent lightning and very strong winds still. This line has been producing some pretty gusty winds right from the city and on southward here. Most of the gustier winds on the northern flank have now moved over into Lake Michigan. That's the good news. Although there are some decent wind gusts that are going to be on the backside of this gust front that basically is what we're looking at right now.
And so you're looking up here. This is Lakeshore Drive, and you're looking up toward North Avenue Beach and eventually Montrose up there to the north. And you can see the lightning. Well, now that I pointed, there it is. Once again, those lightning strikes out in Lake Michigan. It's a good place for them. We look off to the south and west. This is a steerable camera that's sitting up on top of Willis Tower. And we're looking to see anything there in the distance. Yeah. Okay, Pete, they've contracted the severe thunderstorm warning. And this looks like it's the new Trier camera. We're looking out into Lake Michigan. There you can see the shoreline highlighted as we look straight to the east. Alicia likes to use this camera in the morning, Pete, because it gives her a great sunrise.
Gives her a sunrise photo, yeah.
And you can see in the distance a vivid lightning that's sitting offshore. And again, it's not safe to go outside. You get the idea there. Here's the Westin O'Hare, our steerable camera that's on top of the hotel. We still had that report of a ground stop until, what, 8:30? Till 8:30. So if you're expecting someone coming in or you're departing, there are some delays at O'Hare and Midway for a while. Midway, Joey, may still have a ground stop. We'll have to check on that to see what the situation is. And Stefan, they're still departing Midway?
Yeah.
So they're getting out before...
yeah, they're getting out.
Okay. And so Midway. Okay. Okay. This is the only active warning we have now.
Actually, it looks like they stopped now.
They've stopped now?
Yeah, it looks like it's dead. I think the last flight out of Midway just took off.
Okay. Okay.
Just made it.
So yeah, if you're going to Midway, sit tight for a while. Pete, once again, my brother. Yeah, we've done this before. We'll do this again.
This is amazing how this storm just, like I said before, it broke all the rules with where the tornadoes were forming, how they were forming, all the different parameters that we were tracking. It's still hard to believe that we did everything that we did on February 27th.
And if we have to break back into programming, we certainly will to keep you safe. I want to thank everyone watching on our NBC over-the-air channel and also our NBC Chicago streaming channel. Stay safe. These storms still producing some lightning and some heavy rainfall working east. And complete storm coverage is straight ahead when you're here at 10 o'clock. Allison, Stefan, back to you.
Bill has got this queued up on Max 2. Right. And if you'll put that up, we've got time of arrival information. The red box you see there is the tornado warning. And that goes from extreme southeastern Cook County right across the far northern end. See it right there? far northern end. It's kind of sweeping along the Lake Michigan shoreline from Lake County, soon to enter Porter and LaPorte counties right there. And you see the lightning indicated there as well. Bill, why don't you give us the times of arrival right here?
Here's the time of arrival. If this storm does hold together, it will hit East Chicago at 9:08, Ogden Dunes 9:32, Chesterton 9:44, and points east of there to Michigan City, which would be around 10 o'clock. This is a radar Doppler indicated tornado warning, not a confirmed tornado, but again, we've had many reports throughout the evening, at least 8 potentially across the Chicago area, and that'll be certainly surveyed from our colleagues at the National Weather Service tomorrow. So I mean, they're just still entering an area that's pretty juicy, right, Tom? I mean, we still have an area that's got very warm and buoyant atmosphere still to the east of us as this morning.
And the good news is this will shut down in the relatively near future. We are in the final stages of this, but we don't want to leave our viewers in Northwest Indiana out in the dark on this thing. This is it's really affecting far northern sections of Lake and Porter counties in Northwest Indiana, and just crossing the line out of extreme southeastern Cook County. So this is not a threat to the heart of the city itself of Chicago, but it is something to take seriously if you're in places like Gary and Ogden Dunes and Chesterton, areas right along the shoreline right there. So kind of the final stages of what's been a wild evening around here. The next phase is the snow that will commence around here probably in the neighborhood of 1 or 2 a.m. and it might start as a little bit of rain shower action. We expect temps to be dropping precipitously, but there you see it, that bright yellow and orange cluster right on the shoreline right there. That'd be down around East Chicago and the Gary area, and it's exiting Cook County as we speak, so north of Thornton right there. Quite interesting.
Northwest section of Northwest Indiana, that's the area right there.
Exactly.
Yep, that's it, and it's even if it's not producing a tornado, it's certainly capable of half-dollar size hail and some gusty winds.
Yep, and we've certainly seen that. You know, wind gusts up to 82 miles per hour in some of these storms. That's very localized. If you look at the larger wind gusts, looks like the bulk of the area got wind gusts between 35 and 65 miles per hour, which are formidable. You figure the threshold for damage is around 50 miles per hour. You can certainly get some damage lower than that, with a value lower than that. But that's where you start really seeing the damage. And you get these localized little microbursts and downbursts that can produce an 82 mile per hour gust. That, by the way, was measured by a home weather station. And you know, we have a state of technology right now where we can get these home weather station reports as well. They get onto these networks. And we're able to track these with rather high density, the wind reports across the metro area. So it's an interesting time to be following these strange late February storms. The rareness of this cannot be understated. It's a testament to how warm and buoyant and explosively unstable the atmosphere was today that we got storms like that to develop. And when you look at the area which there are storm reports, it's a corridor, you know, that extends from Quincy out on the Mississippi River all the way east-northeastward across the Chicago area. And now you folks right on the Lake Michigan shoreline and nearby are seeing the last of this storm action. What follows will be, and you can see, by the way, there's the Doppler velocity scan. Not much of a couplet right there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Tom, you know, we saw this earlier, and there was two clear couplets earlier. It's a little one, but it's not.
Yeah, you can see that one right there on the shoreline. And according to this, that's now in Northwest Indiana, which would suggest that, you know, Cook County has been cleared of the threat. What we're talking about there is the little green next to the red area. This is the way you display winds on Doppler radar images. That's what we call a couplet. And when you juxtaposition winds blowing toward the radar with winds blowing away from it, you infer there's a circulation right there just above the ground, and it would be beneath such a circulation that you might get a tornado to spin up. And that's the basis for the warning, and there is indeed a couplet there. It's a small thing,
right.
But you know, this is one of these QLCS squall line type tornadoes. you get different kinds of tornadoes. You get the big blockbuster types that develop under a meso-low. But when you get an arced squall line that's racing along and producing straight line wind damage, you can get these little eddies that spin up into tornadoes, and they themselves can be damaging. And that's what we're looking at right there, right along the south shoreline of Lake Michigan and far northwest Indiana and Lake County there. That would be east of Whiting and kind of down toward the Gary area, soon to be Ogden Dunes. Be interesting to see how that moves. It looks like it's preparing to move right along the shoreline there.
Yeah, it does.
And
Sure does.
it's quite interesting.
And also, Tom, reports of as it moved through southeastern Cook County, ping pong size hail, 1.5 inch diameter in Oak Forest. So that's interesting to note as that storm moved out of Cook County and into northwest Indiana. So even if it's not producing a tornado, it's certainly producing some large hail enough to do some damage.
And it seems to be picking up a little steam there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks a little more onerous.
It does.
As you look at that thing right there. You know, we pointed out all these hail reports, and by the way, we've gotten some amazing
Incredible
pictures. As we get back to our newscast and this thing moves on, we'll try and get these loaded to show you on the air on our regular weather segments coming up here, because you folks have been great in sending along pictures. We've got piles of hail out in the Downers Grove area that were indicated, but some rather large and significant hailstones. And, you know, the way these hailstones develop, you've got tremendous updrafts into these thunderstorms of warm, moist air. And so the hailstone forms, and the updrafts keep it suspended there, don't allow it to fall out of the cloud. And it grows as it's bathed by a continuing supply of updrafting moist air. We call that a process of accretion, where the hailstone literally is coated time and again with water, and the size, as it freezes, the size of the hailstone increases, and what gets it to fall finally is either it develops a mass that no longer can be sustained by the updraft, or else, you know, the updraft dies as maturing thunderstorms, as often happens in those maturing thunderstorms. There it is. That's kind of a great representation of the tornado warning area.
Yeah, it's now Cook County has now been cleared. So as you alluded to a few minutes ago, that the storm had pushed out of there. So Cook County, you're clear. But if you're watching us in northwest Indiana, you still got about 15 minutes or so to go with this cell. We'll pull up the radar here. And
what's the speed of movement that they're setting on this?
This storm is moving at 45 miles per hour.
So see,
yeah.
And see how it's part of a line there. The line's kind of breaking up toward the end.
Yeah.
But that's one of these little spin-ups along a squall line. It's very much like, as we pointed out before, that derecho that raced all the way from South Dakota and Nebraska across Chicago a couple of Augusts ago. Spun up 10 or 15 tornadoes, I don't recall the exact number, right in the immediate Chicago area. And of course, there was all kinds of straight line wind damage. Trees came down. So you mix these little eddies and these little tornadoes that develop on the front side of these things, which can be damaging, with the straight line wind damage that gushes out the front of these storms. And there you can see how the heaviest reflectivity is moving out over the lake right there. That's interesting.
Which is good news.
And it is good news. And you know what else is interesting too is the fact that the line is disassembling, which is interesting. What will happen now from this point forward tonight, the cold air will come in. Nothing kills vertical motion like cold, dense air, and boy, it's going to come in big time. In fact, if you drift west there, Bill, on the radar, I think we'll see well, we don't. We're looking just at the Romeoville radar, so we're out of range on that. But there's snow falling with gusty winds out in parts of Iowa and Minnesota, western Wisconsin. And we'll get a period of that snow in here as these temperatures drop. Get the winter wardrobe ready. Put the shorts away for a while. They'll be back in use this weekend with unseasonable warmth coming in.
There's that snow, Tom, you were looking for.
There it is. Yeah. So, and boy, they've had blizzard conditions with this incoming cold air up in the Dakotas today, western Minnesota. But you can see we've been in the warm air. And look at that. That's what we mean by a bow-shaped. There's kind of an arc to that squall line as it moves out over the lake. That's a sign that you're gushing strong straight-line winds out of these storms. It's a proxy for powerful wind gusts being produced by the storms. And these little tornadoes that occur on the front side of a feature like that are what we call the QLCS tornadoes. And they're little eddies. We had a storm like that come into Chicago, Taste of Chicago, a couple years back. And it was more than a couple years back. But it took down tents and everything else. And they could be damaging. There are no two ways about it. And of course, straight line winds with a line like that can be formidable as well. It's that line that produced a lot of the straight line wind damage and reports that we've been sharing with you this evening.
Yeah.
So there it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we'll here just reset for anybody that's just joining us. Here is the yellow box in northwest Indiana, Lake County, severe thunderstorm warning till 9:45. The red area is under a tornado warning until 9:30. I'll just put the specifics up here. Again, radar indicated affecting East Chicago, and then to move out over the lake. And then here is the severe thunderstorm warning, which impacts sections of Gary, Hammond, and Munster, Indiana. And of course, any one of these cells, like you said, is capable of spinning up a little QLCS tornado on the front side.
Yeah, those little eddy-like tornadoes with the squall line itself.
Right.
What will be interesting now from this point forward, and you can see a lot, the heaviest reflectivity is moving out over the lake, which greatly reduces the threat of wind damage and any tornado risk in northwest Indiana. So I think, guys, for all intents and purposes,
this warning is almost, it's about to be extinguished, I would think.
Exactly.
Soon.
We're seeing the last of this system. We have thought all along this would be out of here by 10 o'clock, and it looks like that's going to work out pretty well. The city is no longer at risk for severe weather or a tornado. Now what we worry about are the falling temps and the fact that it could snow perhaps into the very early part of the morning commute period. Then it's going to clear out. It'll turn beautiful and sunny, but windy and much colder tomorrow. Going from 74 to tomorrow's 33 will be a shock to the system. But the thing to be careful about is possible ice that may be a little hard to see. Any standing water could freeze in these temps that will crash down to the low and mid 20s on the thermometer, and wind that will drop the wind chills to upper single digits to low teens by morning. And then the afternoon, we'll have a 33-degree high tomorrow with wind chills that stay in the low 20s. So it's going to be a cold day tomorrow, but 60s are back by Saturday, and 70s, low 70s, possible by Sunday around here. Guys,
real potpourri.
Yeah.
Real potpourri of meteorological weather over the next several days.
Absolutely.
All right,
Micah,
Tom.
Ray?
Thank you,
All right,
thank you.
good job.
You bet.
Yeah.
See you
Check in.
guys. You bet.